When we emerged from the Troika shackles and were first in a position to do so, we set out an ambitious housing strategy costed to over 3.8 billion, and we have begun to build houses again. In Fingal, we are seeing the building of local authority houses again. In Balbriggan, Balrotherry, Lusk, Swords and Ballybuckle. And there are more in the pipeline. The number of void units in Fingal has reduced from 201 in December 2013 to 28 as a result of government funding. Some local authorities still have a problem with voids, which is unacceptable. The planning process and the building of homes does not happen overnight. The lag between the announcement of funding and turning the key means we need other emergency measures. The private rental market will still have to play a role in solving this crisis, and rent supplement will still play a role. There are calls for some in opposition and indeed the NGO sector to raise the rent supplement thresholds across the board. I do not believe this would solve the problem, and it would serve to further inflate the rental market. The statutory discretionary powers that community welfare officers already have to set an agreed rent over and above the rent supplement limit is an important tool in tackling the threat of homelessness resulting from rent increases. CWOs are using this discretion in Fingal when they can, and it is helping to keep people in their homes. It must be expanded to all areas. The real tool we need to combat extortionate rent increases is rent certainty. This is a recommendation that I and my colleagues on the Labour Housing Committee have made, and we need to see it brought in urgently. It is being talked about for far too long now. It is immoral for a landlord to be able to hike up rent without having to mark it up against any measure such as the Consumer Price Index. The scandalous discrimination by landlords against rent supplement tenancy applicants is being outlawed by Aon O'Riordan. I see the housing crisis at first hand at my clinics, and it must be given the urgency it deserves. I have confidence that with Labour in government we can and will solve this. We need a strong, sensible, multifaceted approach. But what we don't need is what we have seen from Sinn Féin at local level. Their councillors supported a full 15% reduction in the local property tax in Fingal and other areas to the detriment of housing and homelessness budgets. What we don't need either is what we had in Fingal and other areas where members of People Before Profit and the Anti-Austerity Alliance councillors voted against the provision of social housing as they did in Balrotherry and close to Balbriggan. What we don't need either are anti-tax socialists crying crocodile tears at the housing crisis and then refusing to take responsibility to help when the opportunity presents itself. We need every stakeholder and organisation, be they a political party or approved housing body, to pull together to deliver solutions, and government funding is not the problem.